Well, good morning. It's actually afternoon here, and we're cheating because I'm going to go from the piano up here on the stage at the folk school, John Campbell Folk School, to down in front of the hearth shortly, and we're going to need a little cut time in between. So I look awake, and I hope you all are feeling well and hugging up to your coffee. I miss you sitting out here in front of me. My name is Dawn Davis, and I am a composing and songwriting instructor for the folk school. I also play in a dance band for the dances, and I've taken several instrument classes here, from fiddle to mandolin to Celtic harp. I started on the piano as a young person, and it gave me my confidence to play here. As a young person, I was due to go to Juilliard, and every time I would compete and receive really high numbers in technical execution, they'd come back and say, not too much of your own feeling, be really careful about that. And so as I got on up into high school, I thought, I don't want to do this the rest of my life and teach it this way. I want to teach it to be free and expressive. And so I veered off into veterinary medicine. And when I got back to the folk school and got into traditional music and learned more about playing off the page, and that it's so much of a feel thing, it grew on itself, and that's how I teach, and you don't have to read music to come in my classes. And I was due to teach a class here in January, and we are not going to open here until May. That's all right. If you'd be interested in a mentorship, I'd be happy to provide a couple of days of help in writing something. You don't need to read music, like I said. Just have an instrument that you're pretty comfortable with, or your voice. It's about singing too. And so I'm going to play a few things on the piano to start with. And the first is called The Commoner, and it was written by my first student to come out with her own piece in the first class I taught in 2015, and she had never written anything before. And I thought, oh, I wish I'd written that. And it's a little jig. She knew what jigs sounded like, and she was a fiddler. And since then, there have been school teachers and astronauts and museum coordinators and football players and folk study people who work here who've gotten in the class and played banjos and written percussive things and just songs, and we all help each other, and we form the Grammy Band, and it's just wonderful to hear your music played by someone else. But music outlives you. Music will be around when you're gone, and if you're lucky and people still play something that you wrote, you're eternal after that. It's a good thing. So the folk school has done a lot for me in learning many instruments so that I can help my students, but also in my own confidence level, because I learned that here everything is about encouragement and support. And so that's what we want to do for each other, continuing off into this weird time that we're having. So I'm going to start with The Commoner by Heidi Malum that she wrote in 2015. I'm going to go into a piece called The Oldest Hemlock that I wrote for a documentary for saving the hemlocks from the woolly adelgids, and it's to create awareness. And follow that with a short clip from something I call Bridge to McGrew's. I have 2 CDs in the gift shop, and they both have that one common piece on them, because I was trying to find my ancestry, and I thought it was in Ireland. And it turned out a woman in the blood bank got a copy from someone at the folk school and said, I'm a McGrew, what's the deal? I can help you. And we were Scots, after all. So instead of a jig, I should have written a strathspey. But those 2 are down there, and The Oldest Hemlock is on the folk school compilation that's in the gift shop too, the crap shop, if you care, about hearing any more of this music. But I'm going to start with The Commoner and go into The Oldest Hemlock, and then into McGrew's, Bridge to McGrew's, who turned out to be Alexander McGrewer in 1735. So here's Heidi's. So we're going to break, and you won't get to watch me trip down the stairs in a hurry to get in front of the hearths. So excuse us for just a few minutes. Be right back. All right, we're back again, and I'm going to play a little reel that I wrote called the Kestrel, and I wrote it for Irish tenor banjo. And the notes are different on the guitar, and I'm not really a guitarist, but I'm going to give it a go. And I've been working on triplets for a long time, so they're a work in progress. But the Kestrel is a little bird of prey with eyes in the back of his head from a feather pattern. And my mother saw me stick her tongue out at her, and she had her back to me. And she said, "I told you I have eyes in the back of my head." And it took me a while to figure it out that it was the dining room mirror. But the Kestrel's the only little bird of prey that can hover, and then he dips and dives and does his little thing. So I'm going to try not to stamp my foot. It's really going to be hard. I'll try to restrain myself. Okay, so that was about half good, but they don't want to have me too many more takes. And I hope I didn't stamp my foot too much. Was it awful? I forgot all about it and got lost in the music. Oh dear. Excuse me. If anybody's curious, this is a little Jean Larive guitar, and it was made in British Columbia out of the trees right there in the Canadian forest. It's a really sweet little parlor guitar, and I like them small these days. Oh, and my little sticker, don't worry, is not on the wood. There's a clear pickguard there, and it's a quote of John Campbell's, and it says, "Your sacred space is where you can find yourself again and again." And in these times, we need a space for sure where we can find ourselves. Sometimes too much of ourselves, and we want others. I sure miss you being out there, and I miss eating breakfast with the blacksmiths, and I just miss all our friends. I'll talk about that in a minute. But the folk school's doing a grand job of keeping things going. And be sure you notice the donation link that's there with the website link to it, because every little bit helps, and I'll talk about that some more in a minute too. This folk school has done things for me that I could never explain. It does change you. It does change your life in good ways. So that was the little Kestrel. Oh, and a lot of times I write very serious things, and I thought, I really need something to lighten up with a little song. And then I had a dream, and this really happened. I have a little gray quarter horse, and if you get up on a picnic table or a hay bale or anything, and you just, he'll come over and let you get on, and you just go on off on your little ride bareback or whatever you want to do. And so in the dream, I got on him from the picnic table, and we started down the trail, and I ended up on the red carpet at the Grammys, and they were asking me who my designers were. And I froze, and then I told them the truth. And even today, it would be the same answer. You'll figure that out in a minute. So. Once I dreamed I traveled down the trail into a tinsel town with hope of gaining some renown among composers there. My suitcase held no sequin dress late fall. I had my goose down vest. handmade woolies, Goodwill watch, a hairbrush, and a prayer. I finally got to take a walk where the carpetbaggers stalk. Famous folk were asked to talk about who made their frocks. But when it came my turn to face the lights, I fought the urge called fight or flight. And then within the surge of sounds and sights I heard, she's wearing socks. So I said, in goodwill and Eddie Bauer, I pursue a higher power. I'll be ready in an hour for a wedding or a wake. Off the grid is where you'll find me, in the mountains that designed me, where the thing that best defines me is the music that I make. When I've gone to meet my maker, when the roll is called up yonder later, I'd like to play for my creator while we survey the globe. Then surely I'll be taken in and swiftly pardoned of my sin and my Eddie Bauer moccasins and my fluffy Goodwill robe. In Goodwill and Eddie Bauer, I pursue a higher power. I'll be ready in an hour for a wedding or a wake. Off the grid is where you'll find me, in the mountains that designed me, where the thing that best defines me is the music that I make. In Goodwill and Eddie Bauer, I pursue a higher power. I'll be ready in an hour for a wedding or a wake. Off the grid is where you'll find me, in the mountains that designed me, where the thing that best defines me is the music that I make. We still make things. Which brings me to another subject. I wrote a poem about a week ago, and people often ask, well, how do you teach folks to compose and to write? And first, you get them in the dark with just a little light on the piano with chocolate, and you get into their heads, and you let them free up. And it's like starting a colt or fly fishing. It's about feel, and it's about freedom, and then you still have to rein it in a little bit. You can't let it get too wild and out there, and then we all play with each other and give suggestions as to what would be better for one instrument or the other. It is such a wonderful thing, and I'm sad that my class, for the third time, is not going to happen. But again, let them know if you want a day or two of instruction. I'm local, I can be here. And if 9 people in 3 days wrote 22 things for the first time, I think I can help you. And so how do you do it? You can start with a phrase. If we say something with expression, it has ups and downs. It even has rhythm. And you can say, well, would that be a jig or a reel? Would it be a major or minor chord, happy or dark? Sometimes you just play on your instrument and you come up with a chord progression, and then you start humming with that chord progression, and it becomes a melody. Sometimes you're on a mission to do something for someone and it comes really easy. Sometimes it comes in your sleep. Sometimes it drops out of a tree as you walk under it. And just be ready, have a scrap of piece of paper in your pocket, or get up in the night and write down some words that come to you and save them years down the road. You may put them back together with something and make the peace that brings world peace. Who knows? One of us could write that one of these days. And again, when you write something that's yours, it's yours forever, and it's eternal, and it outlives you, and there you go. You have something to leave behind. It's wonderful. So I'm going to read this poem, and I spent a lot of time in Wyoming and Idaho listening to cowboy poets, and they have this meter and it has to be really lengthy. That's kind of a requirement. So if I'm guilty of that, here it is. And it's on the back of my Irish soda bread recipe that I'm going to leave at the office. And somebody will like it because all you do is mix it in one bowl and throw it in the black skillet and bake it in the oven. That's really good. This is called The Candle. The sun keeps going down on what seems a lonely place, but there's still a candle glowing in a window of this space where the halls remember music and where stories yet are spun, where the floors recall the dancing and the anvils ring as one, where wheels are softly spinning and where clay is taking form, where colors flow on canvas as bread rises, sweet and warm, where wood is turned to satin and the pen is put to word, where stones and silver sparkle and where ancient tones are heard, where quilts preserve our history and where glass reflects our view, where leather welcomes lacing and mead is served with stew, where books are bound with memories and bonds are forged in steel, and in weaving with our passion, we create just what we feel, where mist lays in the mountains and bright gardens bathe in light, where streams and trails are winding and our friends are still in sight. So don't blow the candle out, but light another and then more, for the folk are still about, just inside the old red door. And I want to thank everyone here at the folk school behind the scenes and in front who are working so hard to not only keep it alive, but to keep the connection alive between all of us. So again, that's where the donation link will come in for you. So I'll just do one more song. I think we have enough time for one more song. This is called the Composer's Morningsong, and don't worry, there's no foot tapping to it. And I just thought, what would I write as a composer to sing when I get up in the morning that make me feel good? And I have the chorus up on the big sheet here. Normally during Morningsong, and people sing the chorus, and then I hear it all around, and the birds sing with it, and it's neat. But anyway, this is Composer's Morningsong. And the chorus I'll start with, so you'll get a bunch of them, and then maybe you can sing with it. Let the music feed the joy, the way the rain sustains the land. May it always echo on through our words and by our hands. Let my joy rise up in the morning when the sun shines on my face. Let the bird song of the dawning herald thankfulness and grace. In the shadows of the evening, may the wind bear me a tune, and may I lay down believing in the rising of the moon. Let the music feed the joy, the way the rain sustains the land. May it always echo on through our words and by our hands. Somewhere farther than the mountains, somewhere deep within our souls, there are stars that fall into fountains where the melodies unfold, and they flow in some music and a song. Let the music feed the joy, the way the rain sustains the land. May it always echo on through our words and by our hands. One more time. Let the music feed the joy, the way the rain sustains the land. May it always echo on. We still make things. Bless you all. Thank you for coming, and have a great day.